17:42, and I will call the Woodland Hills Metropolitan District regular board meeting for Thursday, September 22nd, 2022 to order. And item 2, roll call.
Stacy Popovich present.
Tor Stinson present.
Sherry Ringham present.
And the other 2 are absent. So we do have a quorum. Item 3, President's welcome and remarks. Really don't have a lot to say other than appreciate y'all hanging around while I was running late. So I was really lucky to even be here. So I was pushing it. And thank you for everybody. Normally you don't have very many people come. So we're lucky. All right. Somebody want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think Wally was going to sing the national anthem.
That's what
I tendered my resignation.
I know what you're gonna fire me.
All right. Item 4, approval or disapproval of the agenda. He didn't even miss a beat.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second it.
A motion by Stacy and a second by Sherry. Any other discussion on the agenda? All right. All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3. And item 5, approval, disapproval of board minutes.
I have an addition to the board minutes
Okay.
on the bottom of page 1. Under approval, disapproval of the minutes from last month. The motion to accept the July minutes, it was moved by Secretary Erickson, but it doesn't document who seconded it. Second the motion.
See, somebody does read them.
Hmm?
I said, see, somebody does read them.
Who seconded it?
I believe I did.
It was either you or John.
I believe I did, but you could go back and
We'll
look.
have to look at the video.
All right.
So then we can't approve it then, right?
Yeah, we'll approve them with the amendment that the second be added on there.
Yeah, you can approve it as amended.
So I'll motion we approve the board minutes with that amendment.
I'll second them.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 3-0. Item 6, attorney's report.
We are going to file tomorrow major papers in the ongoing arbitration paintbrush. It's been a huge amount of work, and as you say, it'll get filed tomorrow. They will file papers as well, and so we'll see how this whole thing really shakes out as we see what their papers are. So,
And we're still set for hearing when?
Let me side comment on that. I'm picking up the perception that folks think we're going to court in November. That's not true. The arbitrator will hold a trial, and the arbitrator will issue a decision, but that's not a court, that's an arbitration. And that happens, there's a lot of major motions. Ones I'm filing tomorrow, the ones they're gonna file, there's major doubt whether it's ever gonna get to trial, that it may well be decided on these papers at the front end. But if he doesn't grant the motions for summary judgment and it goes to trial, he's an ex-judge, he's a JAG. JAG has 20 or 25 ex-judges on their roster, and he's one of the ex-judges. If we go to trial, it'll be a Zoom trial because he has asthma, and says he has to have a Zoom trial. So that's just a side note. Then beyond that, we handled a little matter of motorcycles. Nothing to speak of. The,
Motorcycles.
yeah.
What?
Jed,
It's a motorcycle thing.
I was just talking about that,
Oh,
Mike.
okay,
all right.
She's driving over.
So I got minor league involved.
okay.
And beyond that, we're still working on the plan, still in process, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that.
I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we'll talk about everything else, in yes, and in executive, all the rest of this stuff. All right, item 7, approval or disapproval of financials.
All right, so for the month of August, starting with Parks and Rec, total income was $217,310 on a budget of $227,716. Total expense was actual $194,698 on a total budget of $216,169. So net ordinary income, despite missing our revenue targets, we still came in positive, $22,612 versus budget of $11,547. So one of the items you see, if you look at recreational facility fees, you'll notice it's zero. This is one of the first months it's zero. What that is the Parks and Rec portion of a residential tap fee. So Challenger, as you may or may not know, building wise, has really slowed down, really kind of came to a halt. They have started to pick up a little bit. We've seen a couple permits come through recently, so next month we'll have a few more tap fees, but it's nowhere near the level that it had been for the previous 7 months of the year. So that's why you'll see that revenue is kind of dried up right this moment. Going on to the water enterprise. Total income for water was $393,022 on a budget of $351,636. Total expense came in at $216,524 on a budget of $227,949. So exceeded expectations in revenue despite tap fees kind of drying up, and also came in under budget on expenses, so 2 big wins. Net income was $176,498 on a budget of $123,686. Going over to wastewater. Total income for the month was $292,394 on a budget of $342,267. Again, tap fees obviously dried up, but we haven't seen any tap fees coming from Paintbrush. We also are not really seeing tap fees coming through from Falcon Highlands, even though we are due tap fees, actually overdue for Les Schwab. So we've been in contact with the management company BizOps that manages Falcon Highlands. They said that they sent out the invoice, I have a copy of the invoice, that the company sent them a check, and the check got returned. So the whole got lost in the mail. So we're still waiting, but they are almost ready to open. So that is definitely a concern of ours from a financial perspective, that we should have got paid when the building permit was given, and here we are months later and we still haven't gotten paid. So we will continue to push on that to make sure we have the right information. On the expense side, total expenses came in at $183,923 on a budget of $247,087. So despite the revenue miss, did come in well under budget on the expense side. So was able to exceed net income. Net income actual came in at 108,471 on a budget of 95,180. Any questions about the three enterprises before I go over just the district as a whole?
With all of the moving parts for expense line 710, accounting and audit fees,
Yep.
is that due to,
You talking about for the month or year to date? Or both?
well, for the whole thing, for the year, it's,
So for the year, it's a combination of the time that we've spent with our CPA firm, so CFO, as well as the audit firm itself. So it's a combination of those two expenses, but now that myself, and my team in my office have gotten more up to speed, we have seen those bills drastically reduce almost to nothing. So going into the rest of this year and into next year, we will not see those large kind of accounting fees moving forward. It was just kind of the first part of the year.
okay.
Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Sure.
Your comments reminded me of a comment. I had understood that a tap could be issued and we wouldn't even necessarily know about it, that it would come from the county. Troy, you told me that some time ago, and I checked with the county and I now have it in writing that if we don't approve it, they don't get a tap. You have to get the tap approval from.
Yeah, so I reached out to the regional building
But we were
authority.
having that issue with paintbrush was building over there.
Yeah.
We were not getting taps. We were
So-
And she's telling me now that that ain't gonna happen.
To Ted's point, what the regional building authority said is they will not issue a permit unless the person wanting the permit can show that they have paid for the tap. What we have talked about internally is that that is not how it's actually been done. Is that we typically get paid when a building permit is issued. So I am still trying to get in contact with the right person over there to say,
Yeah,
okay,
lady.
well, what is
Who'd you
the
talk to,
right
Kim?
process?
No, it's a lady. I've got the name in the email.
So there's a different person, so there's an actual manager that's over all of that. I have his contact information. He's reached out to me, I've reached back out to him multiple times, but he hasn't contacted me.
Alright.
Okay.
So again, it's in flux, I'm trying to figure it out, but
I mean, what's their process say? I mean, what's it say in black and white?
what it
It's
says
county.
is exactly what I said, is
Is
that
it-
they will not issue a building permit unless the person wanting the permit can show that they paid the tap.
It's almost like it's up to us to show proof that they
Right.
paid it.
It was said the other way around. We have to certify that they
So it's
paid it.
not possible for
Yeah, that's exactly
them.
what he
So I
just
just
said,
said,
yeah.
So how have they been getting around that for all this time? I mean, are they
Yes.
using the will serve letter as,
no, cause like a will serve, so like Challenger, we'll give them a will serve for, 150 units, but those that come in and buy, 7, 8 at a time, build them houses, come in, pay for another 7, 8.
So there's a lot to try to understand what has been done in the past, how it should actually be done according to the regional building authority. So as soon as I can get that information, we will amend whatever we need to amend process-wise to ensure that we follow the guidelines that the regional building authority has.
alright.
But
I
the
just wanna
short
make sure it's
version
in
is-
writing and that
Right.
everybody, all these different IGAs and things, that we get that inserted in those IGAs as well to mirror what the county requirement is, so that we know, they know, that those won't be issued without payment. So we don't have to, we're not tracking people down to get money.
Right,
That's, she's a stopgap, or they are.
right.
Again, back to the simple explanation, unless we say yes, they don't get it.
Which
Whatever
makes-
it takes for us to say yes.
Which makes sense, you think about like the situation we're in with Les Schwab, right? Nobody's been paid, Falcon Highlands hasn't been paid, we haven't been paid, but yet they built. So it actually is a better process to say, okay, when you're ready to get your permit, come pay, we'll give you a receipt. Now you can take that to the building authority to say, look, I paid, I'm ready to build.
Is he receptive to that down there at the county,
Who?
at the building?
That's the process that they say we're supposed to follow.
That's not what it's.
I know, and that's why I can't get
That's
hold of
why
anybody
Chase
to
did
have
that.
that conversation.
And I have it in writing, Troy.
Yeah,
Alright.
so Dan said he'll work with me on it, so we'll
Really?
double team that. Any other questions before I finish out the financials for the month? Okay, so total revenue for the district, for the month of August was $903,144 on a budget of $921,621. Total expense came in at $597,430 on a budget of $691,206. So net ordinary income was $305,713 on a budget of $230,414. So despite some revenue streams kind of drying up, I mean, we expected it, right? I mean, keeping the board aware that we know that as the market has changed, interest rates have gone up, building's gonna slow down, tap fees are really gonna slow down. We are in the thick of, getting out of the thick of highest water usage. So you saw water obviously well exceeded expectations, which definitely helped to offset some of those other losses in revenue streams. I would expect to see similar results like this for the remainder of the year. So it's gonna be very close to hitting our net income goals. Now, the good thing is the previous 7 months of the year, we have far exceeded our net income goals. So from a year-to-date or end-of-year kind of thinking ahead, we are in no danger of not hitting our expectations for both revenue and net income.
But you can see on the gap closing on there.
Yes.
rapidly.
Yes. Instead of being, 180%, right? Maybe by the end of the year, we're 130%, 120%.
Which is fine. Our goal is to keep us where we were maintaining before at 125%.
Right.
I don't think just because of the bond refinance that we should change that. I still think we should stay.
We have to keep it at 1.25, so regardless. So again, we're in no danger of that. I'm not concerned for the remainder of this year.
And are we going, while we're on financials, are we gonna talk about budget or where we're at?
So as we were going through the financials, I do need to make an amendment to the agenda. I would like to chat with the two of you in executive session about certain directions of certain line items and stuff. I don't know which CRS that would fall under.
What is it that you wanna, in general terms, talk about?
We're
It's
gonna,
Budget negotiations really is what it is.
yeah,
So, the CRS on the agenda is for negotiations?
perfect. So we're just gonna add that inside of that, which is why it's sitting in front of me, and I still forgot.
Cause we have a hard deadline.
October
Well-
1st, next Saturday.
I don't know how you read that paragraph,
Yeah.
but I would prefer we just go ahead and send a notice of where we're gonna be.
I'm supposed to have some results from the rate study companies by the 27th,
Okay,
so that we can then turn around, Neil, Stacy, myself, and Wally talk how that's gonna impact Paintbrush, if it does, right? I don't know how it's gonna result. And then serve them a letter by next Friday,
okay.
which meets our obligations according to the IGA.
Cause the first is.
I really am
Versus
hoping
that.
that we can come in with less, if none, rate increase, than what the city just put out today.
Yeah.
CSU?
Yeah, I got that notice in the office today as well.
Cause that's a real kick in the butt.
How much did they go up?
Oh, I didn't,
26%, the budget.
Well, he's talking about Colorado Springs.
Water went up,
utilities.
water's going up 5%, wastewater 4%. I think across the board, it was almost a 16% hike.
The budget is growing by 26%.
26%.
Yeah.
Water grew, well, Colorado Springs.
Ours is
utilities
not gonna grow by that.
Grew by
I'll tell you
7%.
that right now, there's no reason for it.
so that's why I want to, after the meeting that we had last week, I want to gather kind of what their point would be, so that way we have a little more direction, because we have such a short turnaround time that it has to be done by next Friday. And I know we chatted about a lot of topics last Thursday, I think it was last Thursday. So I just wanna get their, take on it, so that way we can have some, when we meet, I have some solid numbers from the rest of the board as to where we're going.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
So-
think we need any of these directors anymore. I mean, this place runs
Okay.
itself.
I did not say that.
All right.
I think they love their job so much they were willing to do it for free.
Yeah, volunteer.
I can see it already, Ted's gonna have to answer a hostile working environment claim.
So, I will make a motion to approve the financials, as presented.
That's the consequence of making it look so easy.
Yes.
All right, I got a motion by Stacy and a second by Sherry to approve the financials. No other discussion, all in favor,
Aye.
any opposed? Looks like what he left. Motion carries. All right, item 8, summary overview, 30,000 foot overview of the Parks and Recreation.
Let me set my
From
timer since John's not here.
From the roof of RCE overview.
Everything's going really well. Maintenance, been busy, obviously, things are starting to just slow down now as far as mowing and that type of thing, so we can finally get those guys to start doing, some other stuff, but, they've been trying to keep up with the mowing, the trimming, all of that. We had some fixes at Balkan, the pavilion started coming apart, their daily checks and repairs and so on. We started a new process as far as, work orders, so, both in-house and out-of-house, and we see something we can go online and fill out a work order, just to kind of expedite things and organize things, and that way we have a stack of what to do and what's already completed and that type of thing. So, everything's documented from this point on. It's not just me telling you guys, hey, we're doing a lot of stuff. So, we started that process this month. Activities, we got a million different things going on. Kind of see the whole list there. Certain things are really starting to pick up. The daddy-daughter dance is starting to pick up. The adult basketball league's just about to start. Fitness classes have been growing. We actually added a couple different ones for next month, which is kind of cool. Fall Festival, what I would consider our biggest festival, or our biggest event, is coming up on October 1st over at RCE. We'll start putting yard signs and banners and stuff out to start generating. I know we've e-blasted it out a few times also. Continue to kind of gain traction for that. We had to postpone our last concert due to weather. So we attached that to the Oktoberfest, so as that's ending, the concert's starting, and we figured we'd give that a try and see if it draws a few more people or just kind of lengthens the day of fun. So we're trying something different there. Cookies of Santa, which is always here, December 10th, that's been planned, and we're almost maxed out on session 1 already, actually, so people have been signing up for that stuff too, so it's great. Excuse me, revenue, you see last month, 20,000 and change, which was way more than the previous year. Usage was up. September revenue, when I sent it over, was 7,500 and change. We're over 14,000 as of this morning. So again, the revenue is there. Last year, just to give you an idea, for the month of September, we had 11,000 of revenue, so we're passing that. Usage is up, it's over 2,700 people. Year-to-date revenue that's come through our door, 175,000 and change. We're doing fairly well there. Other items. Outdoor pavilion, still has been ordered. Still have no idea when it's coming in. When it does, we will throw that thing up. So, boilers, I think I mentioned it, I think it was maybe 2 board meetings ago. The inspector stopped by, gave us a couple of things that we had to remedy. Those are finalized. We have the final stamp and certificate and all that, so that is done. They weren't major fixes, but stuff we had to do. Balkan Park, I can't remember if I sent you that picture or not.
No,
Of the turf?
no,
Did I send that one?
that's not in there.
Oh, man, that is so.
Yeah, I wish you
Has
would have.
anyone driven by there? Oh,
No, I'm
it's
looking at
so
mud,
good
though.
right now. What's that?
I'm looking at mud.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
a
the
different,
drainage.
I'll get to that.
No,
That's a different
Talking
topic.
about positive stuff.
Yes.
I'm like, this
Positive,
does not look like
Last time
turf.
I was over there, they were stripping it, so.
I'll show, I think I have a picture on my phone, I'll bring them up. The main field, the turf is almost completed. The secondary field, or smaller field and T-ball still has to go in. It is starting to look really, really cool over there, so I'm excited about that. I know Stacy wants to focus on the mud, but I'm gonna
That's fine.
focus on the turf. So Balkan Park's coming along. Drainage, there's where the mud
I'm here.
comes in. We'll start with Oakmont, because I think that's the picture you were looking at. They
Well, I don't know.
finalized,
So this is the first
Sorry.
picture I gave them. I put this in order and how you sent it.
Well, you guys
yeah,
didn't
you know
even
me,
coordinate,
I
man,
know,
this is
wasn't work.
looking
All
bad,
right.
there's no coordination here.
Ted, I'd like to talk to you after.
Hostile working
So this one looks like a field, but it's just
All right,
got like
let's start
egg
with the
run in
roof.
it.
Okay.
Let's start with the roof.
Oh, well,
Just
you
let me
already
go.
discussed that, so.
Well, the roof is coming along, it looks gorgeous, I asked him to go back up, get some drone pictures for us again. So he was gonna do that either tomorrow when the weather was nicer, or Monday when they are projected to finish. They are a little bit behind, but, it is looking good. So, the roof is starting to get there.
How much of the under part did we have to replace due to
No.
damage from not?
Was it 2 or 3, pieces of plywood, that was it. I thought it was gonna be
Okay,
a lot, and, no, it was pretty solid.
it was a win.
So, that was all good. The next pictures you see are of Safeway. So 1, 2, 3, and the really muddy,
Yeah,
4, 5. Those are all Safeway and the back of the back 9 of disc golf. So that whole trenchway that was totally overgrown, they have started digging all that out, hauling it away. The water is actually flowing the way it's supposed to now. Really, really cool to watch that process. They still have more work to do. They are about, I would say, 2/3 of the way down towards the drain, which is back there by the liquor store and off the parking lot there by Safeway. So they're close, and they're kind of redigging that trench to the main drain down there. Really, really cool. If you want to take a ride in our new Gator,
Ooh.
let me know. Except for Troy, we'll drive you around. And
Does
Haven't-
it,
Gets you
does it,
down
does
there
it have
with that.
heat and air conditioning?
No.
John went, okay, that's so.
well, I was thinking like this would be fun to ATV through, but we'll keep it fun. We'll keep it nice.
And those gators go pretty fast.
Yeah, they do.
We'll keep the drains flowing.
So, they're actually doing what we hired them to do. I know it took a while for them to get out here, and it looks really cool back there. So, that was one piece. And then this picture, that is of Oakmont. So they finalized digging the tree trunks and roots and everything out. Relayed or redug some of that trench. And their description of once they got all those roots out, the water just kind of flowed, and, which leads to the next conversation, which you don't wanna hear, but it just opened up like a floodgate, and all that water was able to release. The other problem, which is not our problem, is on the other side of that culvert, on the other side of that road, on Oakmont there, that's all, the disc golf, or, the golf course. And that is an issue, the water there is all backed up, but it has nothing to do with us, it's the golf course that would have to dig out their trench and that whole area back there. But as the water was flowing down, as it gets to the next culvert that is ours, which is kind of what we expected to happen. As you open up an area and this water flows down, it then bogs up the next area, because that hasn't been dug out correctly yet. So once that's dug out, then you have more trench and so on, and that leads all the way down into Bennett. So I know our game plan, we got the okay to do some of the Bennett stuff to open up that water. And then obviously we're opening up Safeway. So we are gonna get this water out of here, which will then minimize some of this growth. And then it's just about maintaining trenches year to year, which is a whole different conversation and budget related. But they're doing what they said they were gonna do, and it's working, and we're excited about that. So it is a process, it's a slow process, but all positive stuff when you look at that.
So can I stop here? Just-
Yeah, sure.
So, we have some of that budgeted in this year's budget for drainage.
Yeah. So they're gonna continue.
Now that we have a new section that needs to be dug out, that probably wasn't in this year's budget, I don't remember it
That'll
being
be
in this
next year.
year's budget.
That'll be next year.
Is that already in that drainage line that we've reviewed?
We had a different idea.
We have a different idea that we wanna propose.
Okay,
The answer is yes, but the way in which it's in the budget is new. So it's something that we need to discuss.
new as of last week, like
Yes.
7 days ago?
Yes, new as in Monday?
Yeah.
So we're just scrapping the current budget, starting all over.
Jed,
Probably after Troy sees it, they can do that.
what's the source of the water?
This is all stormwater. This is
The
all
pictures that I saw, that looks like a lot more than the stormwater.
Stormwater.
It is all stormwater.
It's
been
stormwater that's
sitting
just
for-
sitting for
stagnant
years,
because it
basically.
doesn't,
So there's no spring or ditch company or
No.
source of the water from some third source?
You know,
Well,
Okay,
the water in Bennett Pond is coming from the wastewater plant, majority of that, but that's designed to flow that way.
all right, and it's treated.
No, we don't treat it.
No shit.
That was good.
The last few pictures, I just wanna let you know, courtyard, you know, we talked about a while ago, they finally did their fence repairs and fixes, replacements, whatever, so I was just shooting you some pictures of what they did, and we sent them the check for our piece to that puzzle. So that was that. We did an active shooter training this week, went really, really well. That Joe knows a wealth of knowledge, and he's coming back to walk through our buildings again with us to just little tidbit things of stickers on both sides of the doors, so if you're in and you're locked in a room, you know, and you call, you can tell them what room, and they'll have the map that coincides with those numbers, and just little things that I think make us all and make the staff especially a little bit safer. So that was definitely well worth it, and real shout out to the sheriff who came there. Last thing, I know Ted mentioned it, or last two things, we had I think John should be here for this one, but a kid on a bike, motorized bike, tearing up some of our fields. It was the third time that we caught the same kid. We had video this time. Mom, the first two times, I would say, was cold on the receptive part. The third time was kind of hard to deny. There was video. She actually was very okay with either paying damage fees for other repairs or making her kid do a whole bunch of community service. We chose that route. and he started today. So it was actually a good scenario in the sense of I was able to talk to him, kind of remind him, like, if you tear up the turf field, that's not a $250 fine, that's like a $25,000 fine. That's a totally different thing. Mom's eyes kind of opened up, and so it was a really good conversation actually today. And he was out there. I was actually glad it was a little cold, because I think it added to the issue and the learning experience. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. Although I think we have it easy, and I say easy compared to our neighbor. I see on their website they're offering $1,000 rewards, literally, I actually printed it out, for people who report vandals. So I think in the scheme of things,
Over in
we're
Meridian?
doing okay. What's that?
Over in Meridian?
Yeah, it's on their homepage of their website. So they have a whole bunch of issues that we, knock on wood, don't have to deal with right now. So if this was the worst of it for this year, I think we're okay. On a different note, a couple positive things. We had it's gonna start out weird, but a cat actually in the building at RCE. We got it. It was kind of a stray cat or whatever, lost cat. And the kids, both at the front desk and the lifeguards, ended up taking care of it. And we got it out on Facebook. And long story short is there's a lady who ended up coming, picking it up, and taking it to the vet. And the cat is doing really well. She gives me a weekly update on the cat, and she just wanted to throw out that the young staff really did a nice job as far as kind of taking care of it short term and helping out and that type of thing. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there. And last thing, we had I think I talked to you a couple weeks ago about this. We had a former employee who's had a son pass away, so we sent a gift on behalf of the district. We excluded Troy's name, and she was very thankful for
For the gift, or Troy's name not being on
The
it?
letter says both.
Okay, well, you followed it with, she was really thankful.
She was really thankful and appreciative, and she no longer works here, but she was ultra appreciative. So again, I just kind of wanted to mention that also. So all positive stuff, a little muddy back there, but it'll dry out eventually. So what do you got for me? Questions, comments, thoughts?
Missing an E on the sign out there.
So if we get the electric ones, like Wally said, we won't have to worry about that.
I forgot to send you that.
I'm kind of throwing it out there.
That's my bad. I
So,
forgot to send you that.
Maybe we
Well-
should just put one on a billboard on the back of one of those gators and let him drive it around.
He's not gonna do it in the summer or the winter, because he doesn't have
Because it
heater
doesn't have a
AC.
windshield, doesn't have a heater, doesn't have windows.
Yeah, so only on fair weather days, this
You
sign
got
won't
it.
ever be towed.
All right,
75 and sunny.
but
all right, thank
what else you
you.
got for me?
That's it.
Okay.
All right, item 9, the water report. Eric, you're handling that. Where's JD?
He's under the weather this week. If he's not at work, he's not faking it, so.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because that guy don't know how to not work.
Yeah, so, at the end of last month, our team collected the TTHM, the total trihalomethanes, and then haloacetic acids. Gonna be done, I think, every 2 years. There's detection limits on them, there's some thresholds, we fell below everything on them, so we're gonna go on that. And like I said, here, it'll be on the CCR report next year, because everything it has to be on there for water. Had some fuses blow at the transfer station, it was hot out, because of the demand, VFD's working hard. We'll get new fuses in them, got them back in service. Still have some troubles with the LFH1 and A1 wells. Pretty much a VFD issue. JD did some programming changes on it. Had the well company come out, look at it. They've made made progress on it, still having some issues, but they're still trying to tweak it. And it'll get better as demand goes down. 5 Star's been out, both water and wastewater. They got quite a bit of the SCADA system put together for, was 5 and 6, transfer pump and filter plant 1. He actually has some communications on with them. There's still some issues to be worked out, but overall it's going over pretty good. And now that they have the templates for it, the next wells and stations can come online a lot quicker. So we're making pretty good progress on there. Obviously, the meter program's still going. As of last week, 1,556 meters been installed. We also had 7 ball valves, which one you know about, had to be replaced. A side note to that, is kind of interesting to see how some people are willing to try and cheat a water system. So there's a theory out there that if you put a strong enough magnet on your water meter, it'll slow it down and it looks like you didn't use much water. It doesn't work. Guns are not steel, so. But we found several magnets on meters.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of such a
I've
thing.
never heard of it either.
Doesn't surprise me.
So,
Where should I put it on my meter?
You can, it doesn't work.
I mean, yeah. you can try.
so are we 50% done, 75%?
We're a little over 50% done.
And we have to
So,
be done
we have sent out, I mean, you all live in the district,
A
so
ton.
you've seen how many notices we put in the bills, how many e-blasts we've done, how many phone calls we've made. We actually made another email blast today, and we were taking calls all the way up till 5 o'clock when I left the office today. So we're still getting them in, they're trickling in. We've started to put door tags out there as well for the people that aren't responding to us. But we're starting to get in a crunch period. So for those that are listening, the reason for the upgrade is the current meters are on the CDMA network, right? So your 3G network. The end of this year, all carriers are deactivating that network. So what that means for us is we can no longer read the meters the way it's intended to be read. So it either requires a physical person going inside the home looking at the meter, or a handheld device. Either way will require a substantial amount of man hours on the district's behalf to be able to do that, and it's not cost effective. So we made the decision to go with the LTE cellular endpoints. What that also does, not only gets us into the next generation, but it also gets rid of some other issues that we see with connectivity. So we actually now have the ability to go direct to the endpoint in each of the homes versus having that data go to another collection site and then that information coming to us. So it's much more efficient for us to get reads, and we can detect issues a lot faster. We actually get better reads in terms of how much water is being used in the home. So there's a lot of benefits, not just for the district, but also for residents. So anybody, again, that's hearing this, please, please, please call the office, get your appointment. Only takes 15, maybe 20 minutes to get that done, and we'll get it all finished before the end of the year.
Okay. I do know that people were starting to post it on social media like, hey, the water district was just here, they replaced my meter, it was only 15 minutes, don't forget to do yours. So it is out there of people posting on like Meridian and Woodman Hills community posts and stuff like that. So. Alright.
We good on water?
Would you like to continue? Bengals Falcon Marketplace, still going. Dutch Brothers, I think they're shooting for a January, February opening. Superstar Car Wash is coming along. Some chickens is starting to build. Back tea samples are collected, came back good. No brown water calls, no hydrants out of service. And as Carter just pointed out, please call in and get your meters swapped out.
I guess I should call,
You haven't done yours? You're the president.
You're part of the problem.
Come on. Waiting till the last minute.
Wait till we shut your water off.
Yes.
JD
We're all
actually,
going to that one.
I'm gonna call and request that him and JD come and do it.
JD did mine.
And have them,
JD did mine.
and say to get to it, they'll have to move all that stuff out of that
Oh,
HVAC
no, no,
room.
no.
Oh, so you're blocking our access?
Ah,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Yes. Is that it?
Yep, it's just water.
Item 10, wastewater.
Okay, here we go again. So last weekend we left the VFD in solids handling. Thankfully, the VFD, the electrician were able to get right away, so we got it back in service. The August DMR was complete. We passed our third quarter wet test. So we're reviewing plans for developments, including the sheriff's substation, that D.R. Horton rental unit property is hitting snag after snag. So apparently the elevation on that is too low and it can't get into our sewer system. So I think that's been put on hold. They were gonna bring in an astronomical amount of fill to raise it, so hopefully that problem kind of took care of itself. John will be happy about that. No, electricians came out, measured everything for the headworks, for the electrical, plans are submitted to the county. Once they're approved, we can coordinate with the installer and get that baby in. Still waiting on our 125 horse replacement motor for blower 3. Still trying to get someone who wants to sell me a 4-inch diesel pump. Finally, after 1 year, finally got our chlorine titrator from USA Blue Book. There's something happened on their end, never got shipped out. They were able to go back through, find it. The price on it went up like $600, but they gave us a credit on it and basically gave it to us for last year's price. And then sent us a big box of free stuff for my time and
I didn't see
frustration.
anything.
I like free.
Would you like some
Thanks.
would you like some phosphorus test kits?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Now we're fully staffed. Collection guys have been doing a really good job. They've been out jetting TV and sewer lines. So we got that back underway. Working on the budget. The TV van, WinCam, the guy came out for 1 day of on-site training and then 1 day of virtual training. And that was really good. The collection guys are pretty sharp. They got that system down, so made it a good investment. I'm stocked up on, I think I have 16 barrels of sodium bisulfite now to stay ahead of the curve, so if I put another order in, it takes 2 months. I'm not worried about it now. Got the pump that feeds the screw press originally, and I'll come down to something later here too. When they first built the wastewater plant, there was a huge list of extra parts that should have been on hand, and previous management saved money by not getting them. Now we're at the point where the stuff's coming up to a lifespan where it's an important piece of equipment. If it goes down, we can't afford to be without it, so ordered that. It just came in 2 days ago. Kind of goes into yesterday. We had one of the mixers failed and pulled it up and something broke on it and basically just grenaded itself. Again, we were supposed to have a spare, never had one, so now we're looking at buying 2 new motors. We're able to swap it out with a much larger one, and it's, you ever saw the difference between a 2-horse and a 4-horse on a mixer? Boy, stand back, that baby mixes. But we can't keep it in there indefinitely, so we're waiting on price quotes and see how long it's gonna take to get new mixers. The DMR QA study is complete. I think I might have mentioned it last year at this time, but that's passing that test, what keeps us as what they call an accredited lab, allows us to do a lot of our in-house testing, not have to send it out to a third company, so saves us a lot of money being able to do the testing in-house. Next meeting with the engineers tomorrow to look at a couple sewer lines. Depending on, again, because we're starting to go to this high-density housing, some of the proposals for bent grass is gonna start pushing some line capacity going down the lift station. So we're gonna do some measurements tomorrow, see where we stand on it. It might be at some point, as development goes on, someone's gonna have to upgrade that line going to the lift station. So right now it's a 15-inch, might have to upgrade it to like a 20 or 24. So we gotta see where we stand on capacity on
Is
that.
that written in there as far as on their specs, or is that written in there on ours? I mean, who's gonna be responsible for that?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure you can push it off as being, if you wanna build, you want sewer, you gotta get it to us. It's kind of like, I assume it's kind of the same concept as Falcon Highlands. They can put in, I think, up to 76 homes, and then they have to upgrade that lift station. So if they wanna continue building, they gotta pay for a infrastructure. Any
Is that
questions?
in some document?
What's that?
Is that in some document?
I can look
The
for it.
capacity, the size, or any expansions in the size?
Most of the agreements we have, if, you know, even like most IGAs that we have, will specify, and if you go to a new one, you have to specify what that line is.
That's what and that is in this one as well?
There's no IGA with Bendgrass, it's just a,
If it's a contract, or whatever, I'm just asking, essentially, is it in writing someplace? Whatever the form, IGA, contract, whatever.
something like that, no, but we don't lay infrastructure, that's up to the developer.
And their board is still active over there until they're built out, so. I would probably.
Does their board encompass the entire Bendgrass area?
Should,
Until it's done,
Even
until it's
until-
signed over.
yeah,
Okay.
cause they gotta reach a certain build out
It's
point
made up
before
of the
it becomes
development
resident.
investors,
Yeah,
but their board will stand until the development's done, and then it will transfer.
Okay. Cause again, I think the original plans were more for what you see there, but now that they're pushing, 6 to 8 units per acre, that kinda changed the whole dynamic of everything.
That's something I would bring up to them over there. The trajectory of that, and at what point it's gonna trigger. That we would have to notify the county that the line doesn't have the capacity for any more building.
Like I said, we're gonna shoot a bunch of elevations, make sure everything is, the as-bills actually match what the elevations are in the field. Then we're gonna actually put the camera in for a couple hours tomorrow up there in peak flow, see where we're at. And JDS had to go punch the numbers up for us and determine how much capacity we have left on that line.
Yeah, cause they should be able to measure it out at this point and say you have this many SFE left in that line. Once you hit this mark, that's the trigger point, you're gonna have to stop building.
Yep.
And Troy, it says that somewhere?
No, it's not gonna say, it's gonna say it in the county specs, it's gonna say what the capacity of those lines can be, it's gonna say in our specs what the capacity of those lines can be. So it's not a matter of what it says, how much they can build, it's a matter of how much capacity that line can hold.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not the ones building over there, they are, so they would ultimately be responsible for getting that waste to the plant.
But that's why I was reacting to your initial question about was it our responsibility or theirs? It would seem it's theirs.
It's gonna be theirs.
Okay.
But I also feel like we have an obligation to let them know this is how far you are away from that.
Yep. And hopefully in a couple weeks we'll have more information on that.
Alright, cool.
Anything else?
That's it?
I'm done.
Alright,
I did too.
I like it. Yeah, you did too, I appreciate that.
Nice summary.
All right, item 11 is items unfinished from previous meeting. I had two things. One is, did we ever get the Ogunic check?
no,
Where are we at on that?
The what?
That check from the contractor that tore up all the sprinkler lines?
I haven't seen
Concrete
anything.
company?
no.
Just
So
silence.
Ted's firm served them a letter and they have been radio silence.
I probably had some,
12 grand.
and that was a demand letter we sent?
Mm-hmm. We send another letter.
Yeah, I would send a follow-up letter, and we're gonna pursue legal means if they don't.
Okay, but one of my scenarios is if I say that, I mean it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
sometimes-
we're at that point now where we've given them, it's been what, 4 months?
Yeah,
At least 3-4 months, yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
More than that.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't destroy the line on our own, they tore up half the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
so, alright. I mean, are we in agreement on that?
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll let you guys work out the details of it,
I pass one of their trucks almost every morning.
but I know that was an outstanding thing that we need to follow up on, it's $12,000 that they owe us, so. It's just a
Do you
minute,
have a certain time you got questions and answers or?
yeah, we're coming up to that.
Okay.
The other thing is, where are we on the chlorine tank closet for the liquid chlorine?
So we've reached out, they're difficult to get a hold of right now. Aquatech was going to, before we went that route, because in talking to Meridian Ranch, the final piece was, oh, by the way, don't forget to contact regional building and the fire department. And I thought to myself, let's see what else is out there. So we planted the seed with Aquatech to say, hey, what other chlorinators are possibly out there that don't use the AccuTabs that are ultra expensive and very difficult to get. So for example, the one we have downstairs. When we flip that out, it takes a totally different chlorine, it's a way more efficient chlorinator, and this summer we used probably a third of what we were projecting to use. Like I told you guys, we have plenty for at least a summer, probably a summer and a half. So we are dissecting that avenue instead of maybe going through the whole permit process and fire inspections, and that just seems a little bit more complicated than it needs to be.
Well, it's gonna be hazmat.
No, I get it. So if we can do it in a simpler way, still save a lot of money and be more efficient at chlorinating our pools, we're gonna dissect the second before we rush into just doing the liquid chlorine.
Alright,
Is that okay?
Yep. that's good, I just wanted to see where we're at on. Alright, item 12, board follow-up on older items, I think that covered that. Item 13, public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda. Who's first?
I guess I am. My name is Lisa Williams, and I just want to thank you guys for your time and your service to our community. It means a lot, probably more than you realize. I'm here because in 2004, the same year I became an empty nester when both of my sons were Special Forces in Operation Iraqi Freedom, my only children. I was diagnosed that year with late-stage Lyme disease. And what that means is, by the time they found it in my body, it was already everywhere. It was in my spinal fluid. And just a brief description, the Lyme bacteria is called a spirochete, and it's shaped like a corkscrew. And it doesn't like to just live in your normal bloodstream. It likes to dig into muscles and tendons and ligaments. It can dig into bone. And we found out just through talking to my parents that I was actually bitten by a Lyme carrier tick at 12 years old in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. Our family was hiking and I came down with flu-like symptoms, but nobody else in my family got the flu. And as the rash on my arm grew, it resembled a bullseye. And I was very unhealthy all through my teen years, and I just thought all my friends have more energy. I didn't make the track team because I'm tired all the time, etc. So fast forward to from 12 years old to 40 years old. I'm creating IT solutions for Hewlett-Packard in a job that I was highly successful at, and I loved it. And one day I could not remember how to do my job because that disease had crossed into my brain. And along with bacteria, the Lyme spirochete excretes a neurotoxin called quinolinic acid, It's highly toxic, it's highly painful. And I had Alzheimer's symptoms. I still remember one day leaving for work, and I don't remember where I live. And I have to call my husband and say, you've gotta come get me. And I've kept journals since I was a little kid, so I know that I used to speak Spanish fluently. I used to be smart, and now every year I see a physician to see if I can go back to work, and every year I hope against hope. And every year he tells me, no, you can't, you'll die. Some days I wake up and I can't feel my legs. Today's a good day. Today I was able to drive here. Today I have a clear mind to tell you what's going on, and I'm so, so grateful that you're here listening to me. So, almost $70 a month as a fee doesn't sound like a lot of money, and at one time that was what I spent on Starbucks in a 2-week period maybe. But today, just under $800 a year can keep me alive for a whole month, because every day I have to have treatment just to stay alive. It's like somebody with, maybe a woman with metastatic breast cancer who has to have chemo just to stay alive. And now my 2 sons thankfully came back from Iraq after 10 years, both of them, combat veterans. And they came back with scars that nobody can really see except for their parents and their close friends. But now I have grandkids, and I'm 62 years old, and I want to live to see them get married and maybe have great-grandchildren someday. And like I said, it's not a lot of money when you just think $70, less than $70 a month. But I'm here not just talking to you for me, I'm talking to you for people like me. And I'm just gonna ask you to please compassionately consider looking into your bylaws and your constitution and seeing if there aren't any people groups at all that could really benefit from the exception to the rule to have to pay that fee. I know I'm just one of them. I can only imagine how many more there are. For example, one of my neighbors, I know this because I know her. She shared with me, she's a single mom now, suddenly thrust into the role of a single parent with no child support yet. And she told me the other day, she said, boy, oh boy, could that $70 feed my kids this week. And so, you know, she's doing what she has to do, working more than one job. I would too, and thankfully my husband makes a good income. But I'm telling you, over the last 18 years, we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on things that my insurance company will not cover. Neurologists, cardiologists, physical therapy, antibiotic IVs, and then detoxification methods for my body. When my boys were over there fighting Operation Iraqi Freedom, the first thing, I wrote this down in my journal, they are fighting for their lives. They're not going to come home to no mother. And doctors look at me because usually when Lyme disease is this late, it's caught this late, the patient doesn't live past 5 years because the treatment is so grueling, it's so hard on the body that people's bodies just break down. My heart has been affected, every single one of my internal organs is affected, nothing works like it should. And I don't look sick, so people are like, what? You know? And thankfully I've been able to keep my sense of humor and just a gratitude. You can't believe how grateful I am to live in this community. We sold our home with the stairs in Colorado Springs because I couldn't navigate them anymore. So now we have this beautiful home in bent grass, just that's flat, and I don't have to try to do that anymore. But this fee, and you know, I understand, Carter explained to me on the phone that these fees are how this organization stays up and running. I have great respect for that. And I'm not, I don't expect for you guys not to charge anybody a fee. But maybe, just maybe, there's room in your bylaws and your constitution for people like me. So thank you so, so much again for listening to me, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing that. Response? Anybody? I would like to thank you for your kids serving, I've served. And yes, I'm sure he explained how the district is formed, and how that is part of the formation of this district. There are districts that aren't formed with recreation as part of them, but this one is one, as well as Marine and Ranch. We can't take away from it, because it's written into the service plan, things is the formation of this district. That would be something that would take, we have never been able to even get rid of filing 11's homeowners association, because you can't get over 50% of the people to change it, to vote to change it. Because the way we get exceptions to Tabor and things that are all based on our enterprise exceptions in this district. This district's one of the few in the state that's based on fees and not based on mill levies. So being able to change that, we don't have the power to change that ourselves. That's how this district was formed and how it's funded. I would like to say, yes, we have looked at and we've discussed programs for people that need help, like some of the COPE programs and things that the other utilities have, for ways that we could get people to pitch in extra money to help out. But right now, I know everybody's feeling the pinch right now. I mean, you know, I'm a family of 5, and we feel the pinch, and it's just how it's gonna probably be through 2024 now, the way everything is. We have tried to be, we have resisted, just like last year, raising our rates, opposing what it would be required sometimes. Last year, we should have raised rates, we didn't raise rates. This year, we're hoping to minimal, if we have to, raise rates, to keep up with the CPI and the inflation and everything else. These guys come in here every week talking about how just the chemicals alone to run that wastewater plant. So it's kind of a 3-pronged deal with this district. Now, there are districts that are just water, there's districts that are just waste. There's, I mean, shoot, up in Denver, there's districts that are mosquito districts that just go around and spray that's all they do, mosquito repellent. But unfortunately, this district is formed on the enterprise system of having water, wastewater, and park and rec. We can't take that away. I'm sure there will come a day, just a second, you know, like me and my wife have discussed, that once my kids are all out of the house, we'll be moving. We won't be able to afford to live here. With the way prices are going in Colorado, we won't be able to afford to live here in 5 years. And it's not just this district, it's Colorado as a whole.
Sure.
The cost of living here is far outpacing anywhere in the country right now. Unfortunately, everybody's gonna bear that burden.
Sure.
We can do what we can, where we can, but you see it every day in the city. You see it every day out here. You see it out on the plains, for people who live out in the plains. I don't know what the answer is to that. I wish I could say, hey, there's a finite answer I can give you right now.
Sure.
There's not.
I might have forgotten to mention, and I'm not trying to change your mind, Troy, I respect your position, but it's, to me, having it be automatic, even though somebody like me is not going to have the strength to come and exercise and use this facility, you know, it's, I think about people like me just because I'm part of this community, a people group that I never would have thought in a million years I'd be a part of. My husband, God love him, he was thrust into the role of caregiver and had to learn almost overnight how to give an IV antibiotic at home, you know, how to do these things. And it's probably not something that we will use, but I can respect and appreciate the fact that the fee still needs to be there in order for this to run smoothly. So thank you for that explanation and for your time.
I appreciate that. That's probably one of the hardest things. I don't use the facilities. My kids do. I don't use them. I have a gym at my work. But I still have to pay like everybody else,
Sure.
you know? The flip side of that is a lot of districts aren't even fee-based in this state now. They're mill levies. It's in your property taxes. Or you could be in Meridian Ranch where you pay a fee and a mill levy
Yeah, yeah.
that's in your property taxes. We are beneficial. I know it doesn't seem like that, but we, being one of, I think we're the only one of 6 now that's fee-based in this state. We are very lucky to be fee-based. And, you know, not me, but these people are smarter than me that sit on my sides. I just stand up here and read off numbers and talk about the meeting and stuff. But these folks run the district. We try to do everything we can to minimize it, and I hope we can continue to do that. But that's not something that we can take away. It's built as a foundation of this district. We can't take it away.
Who built it?
Your developers, they're the ones.
What
that-
you charge?
What we charge sustains the district, keeps it running,
Yeah, but
keeps your
who
water
built
running.
who said that what you had to charge?
The studies, Wildan studies, we've got 3 other studies going on right now to determine what it would cost to keep the district running.
Okay. I wanna be real quick, okay, on my part. You have a fee called water research. I wanna know who is doing the research and what kind of research is going on.
Is that our
No.
water resource fee?
It's not research, it's resource. It's a water resource fee, and I'll let you guys explain that.
So the water resource fee, what that is it's a fund that was built by a previous board to establish a sum of money to be able to go out and get water rights or pay for improvements to water expenses. Obviously, water is very expensive, and so the district recognizes that we want to get away from well water, right, and groundwater. We want to go to renewable water. Well, in order to do that, you have to have, you know, I call it a war chest, to be able to go out there and buy those water rights in order to ensure that the district stays in a very good position from a water portfolio perspective.
Okay, from my understanding is, I found out a long time ago that the money is being used to find another source of water. Is that correct?
It's not just that, so in our bylaws, it actually talks specifically about all the things that it could go towards funding. One of the things that it goes to fund is water rights, yes.
So what do you mean water rights? I mean, are you gonna try to buy water rights somewhere with the money or what?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We
So-
buy
Like
water.
from where? Arkansas
So-
River?
No. So once a year, we have our engineers come in here
Right.
and they talk about, we have this big pie chart and we look at how we can change from getting water out of the aquifers to getting renewable water sources.
What's renewable water?
Rainwater, they've tried to get water from the west slope over here. We're not going to
Where
that
you
extreme.
gonna,
Out
you gonna
east.
pipe it in or what?
Yes.
That's exactly what we do.
That's exactly what we're
So is
doing,
that what the fee is for?
is to buy water, alluvial water, yes.
Wow.
There will come a point, And I would tell you to go on to the state of Colorado SDA website and look at some of those water seminars talking about the 19 water
Right.
compacts that were written into law years ago. We didn't write those.
So are you putting this, I think it's like $37 a month on my bill. Is that
It's on
pretty
everybody's
close
bill.
to it?
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
everyone's.
something like that, okay? Is that $37 a month just going in to a fund and that's
Yes.
where it's gonna stay?
That's where it stays.
Until you do this water thing?
Yes.
Until we buy water.
And we are always out
Looking.
there looking and trying to bid. And it's not a matter of, it's just available out there. You have to understand, there's 50, 60 different, it's a fight for water rights in
Oh,
this
I
state.
understand, I mean, there's a fight, water, you know, but, I mean, how are you buying water? What are you, I don't understand it.
You buy the property, you get the rights for the water on that property.
So you can drill a well.
Yes. Or collection system, other collection system, yes.
Is it true that there's probably 2 steps to the process? You have to
Yes.
buy the water rights, and then when you have the water rights, you have to create the infrastructure to get the water here. But you need both of those things, the
So,
infrastructure without the water rights.
I've been here 21 years, okay? Have you made any progress?
Yes.
Where?
We actually have very
And
good.
what? Where and
portfolio.
what?
Not just Guthrie, I'll let you explain it more. You've been here for like 50 years.
80, 55.
Yeah, he did.
No, I mean, I'm not trying.
No, you're
No, no,
fine, you're fine.
these are
I'm
really
not
good
trying to
questions.
stir up
And- and
anything,
we-
you know,
no,
I wanna know, you know.
And we
I mean,
love
I'll give you
explaining
my
this.
email if you wanna send me some information, okay? What have you done? I mean, he wants you to talk, I guess.
So, you know, I think right before I got here, you know, we've got the Guthrie line out there, that got us a ton of water. We had,
What's that?
that's
the
a line
Guthrie
from out
line?
east,
Where did it go to? Where's it coming from?
out east, so it's like 14 miles east of town.
And it's piped here.
Yep.
From a well or what?
From
Yeah, 3 wells out there.
3 wells in an aquifer out there. We actually have wells drilled in 3 aquifers.
So you've actually used that money to buy that property out there?
We've used that money for infrastructure,
Yep.
wells, to get more
Pumps.
water, pumps, all that stuff to get the water to your tap.
Wow.
Without it, our rates and fees would be astronomical, and our debt would be probably 6 to 8 times what it is now.
How many people in Woodman Hills? How many structures?
About 2,700 rooftops,
2,700.
probably around 7,700 residents. Am I close on that?
Last census was around 10,000.
And then you
So
gotta
that's
take
how
into
much coming in every month for a water resource?
2,700 rooftops, and then I think we also get the water resource fee from Bentgrass.
Yeah, so
From-
like Bentgrass, when that development came in, they also paid a water acquisition fee. So water resource fee, water acquisition, same concept. So that builder paid the district an upfront fee for them wanting to build, so that we could then have more money to be able to go out and do those infrastructure costs, those water rights. So
Daniel,
we definitely
Since Mike's still
use
on the
that
website.
money to the advantage of all
The
the
one that
district
John
and all
came
the
in and did
residents
this
in
year.
the district.
with the pie chart and everything?
Probably not.
A short comment on water law, if I may.
Sure,
Colorado is what is called an appropriation state.
I understand,
Eastern areas of the United States are called riparian areas, okay?
right?
And there's 2 kinds of water rights. One is legal rights and the other is wet rights. I mean, legal water and wet water. Colorado, you can't own the water itself, you own the right to use the water.
Okay,
Colorado is over appropriated, meaning more legal rights to water have been sold than there is wet water to supply. So there's a supply and demand scenario throughout the
I
state.
understand.
And that's what drives the prices that they've been talking about. Supply, there's a de minimis or finite amount of water, and the folks who own the legal right to the water sell that or develop it themselves to get the wet water. And the Guthrie that he was
Okay.
talking about is an example of, there's a
Okay.
legal right and there's a wet water right.
The area you were talking about, is that the only one that you've done so far? That you bought the rights for and put the well in and all that stuff?
No, the 350 acre feet.
What's that?
From
350.
Cherokee, come up from Cherokee.
Yeah, we have water we get from Cherokee. It's written in, we get it every year, 350 acre feet of
Acre
water
feet,
from
yeah.
them.
So that's an example of wet water and legal water.
Sure,
Cherokee has the legal right, it is selling the wet water right.
right,
Do we-
understand,
Okay.
understand.
But we also, there are negotiations that I can't discuss yet because they're current negotiations for others. The problem is having enough money to compete, to purchase it, is always the problem. We don't raise fees like other districts, we don't have mill levies like other districts.
Sure, I understand.
We're not.
Yeah, I know, I
We're
see the
not
bill every
involved.
month, yeah.
So we have to, one, get in on the ground floor with some folks and landowners and different entities to try to get the best deal we can, and we can't expose those negotiations until they're actually signed,
Understand.
which is a constant battle. And it's constantly being looked at. We have engineers that work for us that are constantly out there.
But everything that you've collected over the years now with that water resource fee,
If it has not been put forward to purchasing water or putting in the infrastructure to get water to your tap, is sitting in an account,
okay,
ready to purchase when we find the right deal.
and it's not disseminated anywhere else?
Nope.
No,
No,
no.
Okay,
it can't be.
It can't
It's
be.
written in that way.
We're
It
audited
has
every
to.
year, and actually right now, we've asked to have, what do we have, 3 audits going on right now? 2 audits going on
Talking
right
about rate studies?
now? Rate
So we
studies
have 2 rate
and
studies.
an audit, but everything is set up so that when we are able to make that
Mhm.
offer to purchase that, we can do that.
who does the audits?
I can't remember the company.
Stockman Cass
They're
Ryan
third parties.
is our
Third
third
party.
party
So
auditor.
you guys request this, or,
Mhm.
We're required to do it every year, and it's submitted to the state.
okay,
We're actually under scrutiny of the state. And actually, the SDA's, it's actually gotten even more restrictive this year with the way they look at the special districts now,
okay,
so.
all right. That's all I got.
And we have an election next year if you want to sit up here.
No, I have,
It's only one Thursday night for anything.
Yeah, to the public, it looks like it's only on one night a month, but,
no, I'm retired military, retired engineer, and I've
well,
got.
thank
no-
you.
Sir, have you had your meter changed out?
If you would, can you give him your information? And we have the slideshow, we will get the slideshow that they did this year. They do one every year, our engineers do, that has our water portfolio and everything. So that he can send you that slideshow and you can look at it. It was on our website for a while, but, that way you have that.
Email?
Yeah, if you wanna put your email
Yeah,
down,
sure.
we'll get you all.
Yeah, and they'll get you that so that you know exactly where that money's going and what we're looking to do with that water,
All right.
water rights, so. There's no hidden secrets, there's no,
Well, I've just been,
Can I describe an analogy? In real estate homeowners associations commonly have a reserve fund. And the reserve fund is if they have to repave or do a variety of different things, that gives them the money when they need it to be able to do it. So
Sure.
that reserve fund is just like a resource fund,
Right.
same scenario.
like I said, I've been out here 21 years, and it was starting to,
I think it was 2011 when they started the water resource fee,
yeah,
if I remember right. And before that, whenever water right acquisition came up, they would always have to run to a bank or bondholders and basically surrender the ownership of the district to bondholders to be able to purchase anything. So by doing it this way, the district is self-sufficient to be able to purchase the water rights and the ground for future, like we needed acreage out east for the part of the new RO system for the wastewater plant that's being required by
Right.
the regulation. So with that, you have to have the money on hand to go do that, or you're just
Well,
not gonna be competitive.
True. All right, I appreciate it,
You bet.
thanks.
No
Thank you.
problem, sorry.
Have a good
Good
night.
questions.
All right.
They'll get you that water stuff and you'll be
I
able to look at all
appreciate it,
that.
yeah.
You bet.
Good night.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry I didn't have a better answer for you.
It's all good.
And we probably answer that question 100 times a month,
Really?
emails and stuff.
Okay.
I answered it twice last week with my neighbors.
And it's one of those where that's all I can say is, I'm sorry, I have to pay it
Sure.
too, I don't have a choice in that. I wish there was a magic wand I could say.
Elections. That's the only magic wand we're gonna have.
Elections have consequences.
That's true.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure, sure. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Do you need help out?
Yeah.
You know, that might not be a bad thing.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Carter.
No problem.
Biggest guy in here.
I think she could benefit.
That's what I was just
So-
explaining to her. I said, give me a call tomorrow. You can use our aqua fitness classes, you could use the Silver Speakers program. I could have Allison or Bree work with her in a personal training program. There's other therapeutic things we can give her, since we can't give you a free ride, right? So you might as well get something for your dollar. And so she seemed to be appreciative. Hopefully she calls, we can try to gear her towards that.
And that's what I told my neighbors last week. I said, look, I don't wanna pay the fee either. I'm
Use it.
super busy. Out of all the things I could possibly do, going to the pool after I finally have gotten home, especially in the wintertime, like when the weather's like this, I don't wanna go back out and go get in the pool. But like, check out the website, see what's going on, try and go to the fall festival, try and go do a fitness class. Shoot, if you wanna take my kids to the pool, feel free, because I'd like to take them less, but they're not old enough to
You're not gonna get out
drive.
of it, so you might as well try to find something.
Right.
you're gonna use.
So that's what I told them
Kinda
both
one
last
of those
week.
people also.
There's all sorts of things except a mother-son dance. But,
I told you to set that up.
yep. I feel like this is the second or third year of daddy-daughter in here, mother-son dances still aren't a thing,
First year
so.
we've ever done Daddy Dinner.
I appreciate it too.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna go to it?
I don't know if I'm even gonna be here.
I'll have to go.
I'm rarely, is he locked out?
Yeah.
Perfect. Screw
But
it.
yeah, that has always been my thing of check out what there
Try
is,
to
cause
use
there's lots
something
of
so you feel
things.
better about it instead of,
Yep,
all right, well, hopefully she'll call tomorrow or next week.
Man, we haven't had somebody come in and ask a question like that in a while, they normally just email or call. I don't mind answering those questions, it's pretty cut and dry, I mean, we have it done pretty good, I think. As far as being able to. All right, so
thank
let's,
you.
When we put in something new, like a bent grass or something, you get a lot of these people arguing against fees. I live well over here, I'm not driving over there.
Yeah.
It is a
I feel for the
recreational
schools, I know
lifestyle.
you do. Yeah.
Well, they're staying in front of me, I don't even get.
I'm gonna motion we enter executive session for determining positions or all other matters that may be subject to negotiations under CRS 24640224E, namely matters related to Falcon Highlands, Grandview IGA, our continued negotiation with D49, and possible property acquisitions for Park and Rec and for water and wastewater purposes, and what,
I have some budget clarification.
for budget negotiations and clarifications. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're now in executive session. All right, we're now back in public session. All right. Item 15, other business. There's one other topic, so I'll go ahead and make the motion. We're going to change the job title for the comptroller in all of our documentation back to the Director of Finance and Admin. So I will make a motion that we make those changes.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So we'll change those back. And it'll be Director of, can you make sure all the documentation reads Director of Finance and Admin? So the district will have 4 directors again. And we would anticipate that you guys would be able to continue to work together as the team you are now. And just for reason behind that, so we changed basically by changing it to comptroller, when we hired Carter, we restricted what that position could do. The director position has more authority, more flexibility in operations and things. And by changing that, we changed it to where we restricted that position. And then now, looking at it now, from what you've done and what you guys are doing as a team of 4. And I say team because you guys, you know, even though he's been working under you guys have been working as a team through all these projects and the finances and all this different stuff. And moving forward, it's gonna take all 4 of you working together to keep things upright, especially through the next couple of years of all the development and everything. And so it seems like you guys work very well together. So making you all directors and having you run your various enterprises, I think works better for the district moving forward with the team we have. Now, can that be changed again by a board in the future? Yes, it can. Can always be changed. I mean, shoot, next board may want a general manager back in here. I don't think it's necessary. I think you guys are perfectly capable of making those kind of general management decisions in your fields moving forward. I think the other item was, and they'll go over the budgetary stuff with the salaries and stuff going forward, but we need to make sure that we notify Paintbrush by the 1st of any projected increase and why. Other than that, I think,
You gonna do anything about minimum wage?
what's that?
Are you gonna do anything about the minimum wage tonight?
That changes anyway, one January.
It'll be in the budget,
So-
so when we get together, they've already
So
captured.
just so I'm correct, it went to $13.65 1 September minimum wage.
$15
No, it doesn't go to $15 an hour until 1 January, I believe.
Right, right. So that's what the budget's based off of, is 1 January.
And those projections, they're gonna use to kind of stop the accordion effect and kind of adjust everybody across the board for the minimum wage, so that everybody's in line with what that wage would be for a living wage, basically, or whatever they're calling it.
Okay, I'll just get with you in the morning on some of the CAPEX stuff that we went over.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay.
Whenever that letter's ready, just let me know. I'll come and sign it or send it to me. I'll sign it, send it
If
back.
I read the IGA correctly, do we have to give them the exact, like, percentages going up, or just the fact that it is going up? It's pretty vague.
In the past, we've usually just sent a letter, here's kind of the rationale for why it's going up, and here's what it's going to. I would imagine that's the
I would
same
put in there that we are,
rationale we're doing.
right now, we are projecting it increasing this much.
Because the way the IGA reads is just have to notify them that we are increasing rates, it doesn't say you have to tell them by how much at this
And-
point.
And that's what started the whole roll down effect, is the first year I was on the board and I was helping with the budget.
What's your read on that?
We did send a letter that said, you will get an increase.
Jerry was doing it wrong. You need to give a detailed explanation of how much you're increasing, the percentage and the dollars probably.
And that's what started the whole thing, is I didn't know and just said, hey, it's gonna increase, and that's what started.
But you can't just say it's gonna increase, you've gotta drop below
Right.
that and give the explanation of why.
So in the past, what was actually used, because it was 2 years ago, I had a 2-page spreadsheet I gave to a certain individual, and I don't know what happened to it, but I know I got stuff got kicked back on it. I'm like, man, I laid it out
Right.
clear as day.
Right.
Right, and that's what should happen.
Okay.
And that's how we should.
You are right.
And that's how we should be putting it out there,
Yeah.
is,
Because they're gonna ask why.
Err on the sense of completeness, that eliminates the need for me to be in a court defending it, with them saying they didn't give us anything, and the opposite side is we've got a study, we've got 2 studies now coming back on the 27th. We've got detailed, supportable information. The Wilden study is the core of our objection to the fight we're in right now. Papers I'm filing tomorrow. That is the gold standard, back to the gold thing you were talking about.
yeah.
That's a solid third-party explanation, justification. It's hard numbers. It's what a lawyer loves, because it's hard evidence, instead of saying, as Jerry was saying, we're just telling you we're increasing it 3%, and that's it. Well, that doesn't fly. You're a public body, that's just it.
I mean, we should know the projections through the budget process, we should know the projected increases.
We're not asking for
It's easy.
their,
It just,
the other part of that is, we're not asking for their approval, we're just telling them what we're gonna do. And if they don't like it, tough tomatoes. Okay.
Copy.
So I'll get with you tomorrow on
Okay.
some of this stuff, and
Right.
then, we'll have the rate study on the 27th.
Okay.
And it'll just have to be kind of one of those things where we go through real fast and clean it up, so we can do an itemized, this is what the rate's gonna be, and then this is why,
Okay.
so. It's
we
gonna
have
be
another
real.
budget meeting with the budget committee yet?
Me, you, Stacy, and Neil next Wednesday.
Oh,
Next
that's
Wednesday.
good.
Yeah, it's on your calendar.
Is it on my calendar?
Yes.
Next week is next week, man.
Shoot, I
It's on
wanna,
your calendar.
next Wednesday, what time?
Um,
Still 8 AM, so I'll be there at 8 and you guys will show up at 8:30?
Whoa,
Hey.
that was Neil, not us.
So my phone, I didn't know until halfway through that meeting, my phone hadn't uploaded any text messages in the prior 12 hours.
It's not on my calendar.
So I
But you're
didn't,
not part of this.
so I didn't get any of those messages until we were already in our meeting.
It said as a Teams call at 8.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other business that we need to cover before we bid adieu for the
Nope.
evening?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will second.
We have a motion by Stacy and a second by, any other discussion? All right, all in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.